So, didn't try it.
Okay, we will do it
It's
soon.
but also I thought like for scope reasons, I wanted to see where it was gonna
before we
fit.
start to push it in.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But that's a rogue thing, Brandon. So like you just brought it up here in a meeting, like, and it's recorded.
Womp womp womp.
On the record now.
Okay, well, since you guys are already on the topic, do you all want to go first for the demo?
Oh, I think that's perfect.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
No problem whatsoever.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but
did we get merged? Because our changes were not merged, so
I didn't see that the pull request was approved by the other team, and so it'll go through the other team, and then the mentors will take a look at it, and then you guys probably can merge it sometime next week.
Okay, no
problem. If you want, you can demo it locally too.
Yeah,
and that was some questions I had, but I'll save them for later.
Yeah.
So I apologize if that didn't happen. I think there was a miscommunication on our part, but demo away.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Brandon, you want to do it? I know you have VS Code open.
Oh God. Okay. No problem.
No. I'm good. I mean, I can. It's the only thing that I have. You know my NPM.
Yeah. It's cursed.
It's hit or miss.
Don't sweat it. This one is a small. This again, like this is just like second week. This was a pretty small thingy, so it shouldn't be too bad.
I got it.
Yeah.
All right. Share screen.
Do the thing.
Host disabled attendee screen. Share screen. Screen sharing. Wow. Screening sharing. Okay. Try it again.
Should be good now.
Encore. Yeah, that is my vision board / background. That's not it. Let's look through all the things I have open. React app. All right, makes most sense. There should be something that says welcome at the top. I can't say top. All right. Add an item. Okay, cool. Add an item. We're taking crowd participation here. So what do you want to add? I always add chicken. So if you're gonna add something else.
If you're adding chicken.
Eggs.
Okay.
We go.
Literally because of the demo video, eggs.
I'm about to say that's a little bit biased, but okay. So we don't need it right now. Actually, it's a pandemic, so soon. You never know. Do they? I don't know how when they expire. So it gets added. We need to see it get added with the what was it? The lighthouse. Anyway, let's just go straight to Firebase. Let me open that on a new session and put it like this. This is what it looks like when you're not prepared. Go to console. All right. Yes, we have lots of that. I need store. No.
Is a database.
Database, yes. Gracias. And I gotta see, is mine still the same? It's still the same. So we should see the eggs.
There we go. Eggs is right there.
And soon we call it the resupply period. So for a full, and where do we go on here again? What's the application?
It's application. Yeah, there we go. And just see a token. Yeah.
So I got a very cool token in case anyone's jealous. Snarl sip hey. I could probably make a rap name out of it somehow. I'll figure it out. So let's do it again where we can see the whole thing. So something other than eggs or chicken.
Let's just say something like bread then.
Bread, all right. Bread, okay. So kinda soon. Add that one. Okay, let's see it. spread kind of soon as 14.
Nice, sir.
Hey, nice.
Awesome.
And then let's do something else that we can keep for a while. Can't keep. Yes, we can keep ice for a while and put it in the freezer.
Yeah, I hear ice stores pretty well in the freezer, you know?
You know, there's other options. You know what I mean? But we'll start with that.
Yeah.
And so that did I even add it? I just started talking. I did add chicken, eggs,
There we
ice.
go.
Oh, it just put itself in the way. So then that's the 30. And then to test our what is it? The one that's null. What's it called? What's it called?
Yeah. We just have it set straight to Firebase. You could see it in the last purchase date because we didn't say how we wanted to modify that yet.
It's so it's on all of them. Yes. So
yeah.
I did not display that. So last purchase date. So the other logic is not there, but we did create the default to be null here. And let's see if you can see these things. And yes, you can see them. Duplicated eggs, which is, a favorite. I think that Jen is biased to the eggs because of the video. But
Eggheaded is a very cute design though. Like I watched the demo again, I was like, oh, I like it.
That with the very clear microphone. Okay, she said no chit chat. All right, I'm done.
And that is the demo.
Do you all want to go through the code and share how you did it?
Sure.
Okay, back to share screen.
I could do this one, Stephanie, just because I
You got it.
Yeah. I managed to do a little bit of an update to some of this stuff just to show off a little bit. Give me a sec. All right. So same thing. Let's see where my VS Code is. Oh, hold on. Before we show this, I just want to show. Remember, I told you I couldn't sleep, so I was gonna do a little bit more styling. Nothing too fancy, but we just made it a little bit prettier, a little bit better aligned.
I like it.
Yeah, super simple. And I made a. Never mind. No. Oh, I know why. It's
error.
This was
you're on the right track.
Yeah. Because if you could see here, I am actually running two different versions of it, and that's why. But I digress. Let's pretend that the demo went perfectly. Just know that there's a nice little tooltip that shows up whenever somebody adds an item. It just pops up saying, item added successfully. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this later.
Yeah, I'll show you, I promise. In
Brandon,
fact,
you have it in the screencast.
Yes, I do. I have it on the screencast, and you could see all the functionality perfectly. I was trying to be a little fancy, and I was testing on my OBS. But anyways, I digress. On to the code. We have the functionality, but yes, the screencast does show the functionality, like, perfectly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
you wanna play that for us or give us the link?
Sure. I'll see if I can find back that link somewhere. I'll post it or whatever. But
sorry, I just didn't know if you wanted to pivot to that since you couldn't do it locally. You could
yeah.
throw it in the screencast. I'll be quiet.
You're valid, dude. Don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. You actually reminded me I did that, so definitely don't feel bad. So how we did this was pretty simple, right? We had a bunch of functionality already done by Volha and Kathy in terms of.
Shout out to them.
We. Sorry.
Well, I gotta change it up because I was using the air horn.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, we'll go more. Anyway, she asked about the code and she said stop doing that. Okay.
Yeah. So this is what we originally had from Volha and Kathy, right? In case that we just set the collection over to the Firebase as Volha demonstrated within last week's presentation. So I just kind of piggybacked off of that functionality to add the resupply period and the last purchase data points that we saw in Firebase. And to accomplish that, I used two hooks, just some state objects. I used last purchase date, set it to null by default. and I used, well, the resupply period. I also changed a little bit of the structure of here a little bit, just because I'm going to be quite honest. Even though I know it's JSX, I find when there's a little bit too much HTML like written everywhere, it kind of annoys me. Especially when it comes to forms, they have to do labels, inputs, you know, forms, radio types. I kind of, that was bothering me. So I did a form inputs component. And this way it's also a little bit more extensible. So we could
That's
use
wonderful.
this. Thank you. People understand, dude. But yeah, so this way we could add form inputs components. And as you could see, it requires certain props. So I have the label set as one of the children, so you could just pass that in, as you could see here. The label itself says item name. So there we go. If the demo were working perfectly, in fact, let's tempt fate. Let's just call it item name 2. If it's working perfectly, please work perfectly.
You might want to refresh.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Or not.
Either way, again, guys, I promise the code works. I'm doing the code. I'm not doing front end. Everything works, I promise. But basically, the way is you pass the label prop, and that'll update the actual label text. The value, blah, blah, blah. We know how forms work. Same thing for the radio buttons. I made a radio button component. This time I just hard-coded it, to be quite frank, because I can't see us using this again. So I made sure that we hard set the value of soon to 7, not soon, well, kind of soon to 14, and not soon to 30. I had them operate under the same name, so I might have to adjust that like in a little refactor to something like resupply period or something like that, just for ease of somebody's reading the code doesn't want,
and this is where we had the like conversation, or I had the like pause piece of holding the lot of this being a 2-tier architecture versus a 3-tier architecture.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why that matters. So it's like this logic is going to be held here, and how much logic and the ability to change the things, and you know, like there's a lot of conversation that goes into having that there, and how you can scale from there.
Yeah, which is very interesting. That's something I definitely need to grow into. I need to like start looking at stuff a little bit more.
You look at Google Images. I mean, you know, that's all you need.
Yeah. But other than that, we just had yet again
the tooltip. There you go, it's right there.
Oh, right. Thank you. So this was, I just thought, was a pretty neat little bit of functionality here. I just did a conditional rendering of the tooltip, right? I made it either visible or invisible. Yeah. But in order to make it get a proper delay with an animation, because JavaScript conditional rendering is like terrible with animations. I hate that. I like to use transitions personally, so this was a bit different for me. So what I did was I set it to basically on a timeout edit a bit of a state object, which is added, and due to magic, it uses that, and then it applies some keyframe animation to just give it a nice little fade in, nice little fade out. Pretty nice stuff. It was small. I was just proud of it because it was fun. Other than that, really custom. I like custom button, again, just because for extensibility, if we need to use any buttons inside of the other page, list view, which I know we do, I made it set so that all you have to do is put like whatever value you want as the children, and it would be reflected here. And I did a nice little hover animation because, again, I was kind of bored, but yeah. And that's roughly it. Again, we just went off of Vola's and the company's functionality in that we just set it there, but that was the code of how we actually did the UI. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and thanks.
Yeah, that's really good job on that. From like a code perspective, I left it on. I'll have to comment on one of the pull requests, but I'm just really impressed with the use of comments that I'm seeing in these pull requests and how helpful they are, just to see like, every now and then there's like a single line, a few words saying like what things do. Sometimes comments can be overused, but in this case, they work perfectly in my opinion. And so I'm really impressed with that. And just the thought that's kind of going in, this program isn't too much about code quality, but if I could just speak on the code quality for a second, I'm like really impressed with what I'm seeing.
Oh, thank you
Yeah.
so much. I appreciate that.
It's really great.
It
Documentation
always
is always, sometimes you feel like you have to twist people's arms to do it. And so I really appreciate that. It makes it easier to review the code too. So great job, everyone.
Yes.
But yeah, so what I really liked the part where you cleaned up the code by just kind of encapsulating it in a different component. That was great. I love doing that too. If your return statement is more than like 20 lines, it's a no-no for me. So that was really great. But yeah, so thank you so much for sharing, Stephanie and Brandon. Kathy, are you ready to demo?
Yes, I will do my best. I'm a little, scared and intimidated, but we will figure this out together, I guess.
Yes. No worries.
Scared,
Yes.
intimidated. Did you see how mine went?
We're all friendly here. We're all friendly here.
I think you guys did a great job, but I do appreciate it. Okay, so 2 seconds. I gotta share my screen. Make sure I share the right one. Share. Okay. All right. And let me move this. The Zoom helpful toolbar is always somewhere that's so not helpful.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really
All
annoying.
right. And then it wants to spread itself again across as many screens as you have. It's fabulous. But nonetheless, so today's demo, this week, Volha and I had the user story where if a user wants to create a new shopping list with items which will be able to be tracked, and that includes generating a new token, a new unique token, saving that token to local storage, then redirecting the user to the list view with the acceptance criteria of if a user does not already have a token, a button is present on the newly created home component, which allows them to create one. Upon clicking the button, a new token is generated and saved to local storage. And once the token has been created and saved, the user is then redirected to the list component view. So I think we accomplished all of these acceptance criteria, which were kind of indicated in our pull request, number 26. Thank you for your reviews. So this is the home page. Actually, no, let me back. Sorry, I'm trying to think. Oh, I got a little distracted. Let me start off with the code and then I'll show you the browser, if that's okay with everybody.
Oh, I thought you were gonna have a PowerPoint. I had no idea.
That's great.
It's your
Next level.
presentation. Because I was like, oh shoot,
Oh no PowerPoint. So don't feel bad at all, or don't feel like any kind of ways. I have notes, but no PowerPoint. Sorry, I needed to see your faces a little bit. So I had to rearrange my screens. That's what that was
what I mean?
about.
That's right, Brandon.
Where
am I
crazy over here? Well, just be able to see something other than like my screen was on like my IM messages or whatever they're called, iMessages. I was like, that's distracting. So not that anything's coming through, but anyways, moving on. Speaking of that, isn't it like oh, it's already on. Okay, check. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure nothing random came through. Okay, so we started off with the home component. And unlike Brandon's wonderful initiatives, we just created it with some placeholder text, assuming that later issues would allow designing, and we just kind of wanted to err on the side of caution was our thought process. Then we jumped into the app.js file and added the home component, as well as we needed to add a route for the home component and modify the route to the list component. And something else that is that I wanted to touch on really quickly. We just went ahead and we're open to suggestions, but for the sake of clarity, and I think Brandon and I touched on this last week, but no one actually made the change, so we just went ahead and did it, which was updating the name of the index.js file that Brandon, it's a trick, Stephanie, that Brandon taught us last week, a trick or magic, whatever you want to call it. Let me see about opening that file really quickly, and I'm sure he showed you where we have all of our components coming into one file. And it's an index.js file, and that's what we import into, where is it here? The app.js. We just modified it and called it the component.index.js file or JSX. But whatever naming convention you guys want to take, we can modify that as well. Just a thought process or just a way to kind of distinguish it.
That's cool. And for context, no, he did not tell me. So
okay.
This is nice.
Hopefully that was, I didn't, not too quick of a review. I didn't know how deep to go, but
no, I mean, I get it. I get it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's very handy, I find. It was a nice little trick that I'm definitely going to steal and incorporate in my stuff, in my React projects moving forward. And I didn't know if we should do capital C or what have you. But I just did it, and it's open to negotiations, topics, suggestions, edits. Then we went into the listener.js file and wanted to make sure that we were having, to avoid having any kind of key pairing React errors, we modified the key from ID to item.id, which you'll see here. Sorry, that's probably too much highlighting. I should have changed my highlighter. I forgot. It's still maybe a little bit hard to read. It's not the most accessible, depending on your screen. I've got like -70 blue screen, so mine's a little bit different for everybody. But then we moved into the component.js file and leveraged, as kind of the issue mentions, leveraging the get token function that is created within the script file, the token.js script file. So we bring in the get token to allow us to leverage creating a token, where we generate a new token here, as well as saving it to local storage. Then we used a ternary operator, excuse me, I'm a little nervous if you can't tell, to kind of indicate to the user a different page based on whether they had a generated token saved in local storage, or if they didn't. And if they do, they'll obviously see a list of items they have saved, if they have any items saved. And if they don't, then they will see that persistent button token, a button that prompts them to generate a token and add a new list, or add a new item to the list, which then creates the token in the list. And we should definitely want to, at a later date, when we merge all the files, leverage the custom button component that Brandon created this week as well. I think that's a great idea. So let me see.
I love the ternary too, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
It's so personal. Like, this is amazing. Why ever do if then? Okay. Anyway.
No, I appreciate that. It's giving me positive feedback and good, confidence. So I appreciate the feedback. Thank you.
Good
yeah,
energy.
I was just about to say vibes. Good vibes.
Yes.
Good vibes only. We're gonna rename ourselves to Good Vibes Only.
I love that. Good vibes only. So something else that we did, we leveraged the use history hook that React has built in, so that we can, once the user adds the item and clicks the add item button, redirect them to the new page. And that takes them to the add item page there. And that's, so we use that, and that's a built-in hook, which is nice. After we do that, let me see, I think, where am I trying to make sure I hit all my buttons? We came over to the add item component and brought in the collection token name and set it to local storage so that we can then push it up to the database. And then you'll see here too, down in the form, we updated the ID to add item. Something else that we did to the form here, wait, is this the right place? Yes, sorry. Kind of just for accessibility, we modified to move the on-click to the actual form versus the button, so that one user kind of experiences that when people are filling in a form, they often hit enter rather than click a button. Or some people do, I guess it depends on your personality type. So now when you're filling out the form, you'll have the option for either or both. And then just for the sake of shorthand, I added in, rather than doing any detailed styling, because I didn't know if that was upcoming in a future issue. And we didn't want to take too much privilege, just added in some spacing there, which you'll see in a moment. Lastly, I think really quickly before I show you the browser, and I may be over on time, so let me know. We just modified quickly.
You're fine.
Thank you, Jen, I appreciate that. Modified the link that you see in the footer so that it actually now goes to the correct route. So let's see, oh, here we go. So let me move this little helpful thing out of the way. So this is the home page. There is no token saved at the moment. So you'll just see right now, like I said, it's a standard placeholder. But then if you go to the list item or list link, excuse me, and the list route, which you see here, I'm using Safari, so you don't have to see all of my like Chrome add-ons and everything. So I'm a little bit unfamiliar with Safari, so forgive me. You'll see this prompt, which tells you that your shopping list is currently empty. And it's empty, so you want to click on add item, which then takes you to the new route, which is how we use the use history. And I think I may have misexplained that a little bit earlier, but it now pushes us to the add item route and page so that we can add an item. And in the spirit, no, never mind. I was going to say in the spirit of unity, I'll add eggs, but that may be bad. I'll add, I don't know why I don't even have a cat, but for some reason, all the cat litter commercials are there. Something to notice, just really briefly, is that the token was created, and you can see it now saved in local storage. Let me retype that just so you can see. When I'm going to press enter instead of using the button, since we know that functionality works. The page reloads, and then it's the list is updated so that when you now click list, you'll see cat litter. And I apparently entered it twice, so forgive me. So I think that's it. One other really quick thing. And you can see it here in the database, I think. What was our token? Ooh, something hot blot. Let me just refresh this. I was having some
thing.
Oh, see, I was having problems loading it in Safari. This is like way too much.
This is like true testing. Like if it works here.
I don't know why Firebase is having a hard time loading. I was loading it all during your demo just to log in. And I refreshed it so that it was there, but then I forgot Firebase Firestore database has instant refreshing. But when you live in the country with the internet, we'll come back to that.
Does Google own Firebase?
Yes.
Oh, well then they're not going to support Safari like that. You know.
Well, this is actually Vivaldi, which I actually opened it twice because I couldn't get it to load. I have it in one of these tabs where I was trying to get it to load there and it wouldn't. Oh, here it is. Did it update instantly? No. And I'm afraid if I refresh, we'll have the same issue. So for the sake of the whatever you call it, for the sake of the demo, I'm just going to move on real quick and close with one other thing that we did do to kind of clean up the code was that, I don't know, for those who may remember, we used to have two add items. We had an add item Firebase and an add item .component. So we merged the two so that now we just have a simple add item component file. So you'll notice that will be missing from the branch as we merge them. Nice. And that is it. I will turn it back over. Oh, perfect. Brandon was able to see cat litter in the fire store, so at least we know he's got good internet. And feel free to, lobby to your senators and congressmen on my behalf. Internet is helpful. I'm teasing. All right, I'm handing it back over to Jen, Joey, whoever's in charge, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Thank you so much for the demo. Yeah, there was so much clean code. I really loved the use of the shorthand for the fragments and the ternary operator. Solid, super solid.
Thank you.
I'm really impressed with what I've seen, and the demos too are really great, and the teamwork and everything. So this is awesome to see.
Thank you so much. Voha and I worked really hard this week together, and we had really great ideas, and I was able to also, like, we both were able to teach each other new things, which was great. One of those items being I taught her about the React fragment, and then the use history hooks. That was new for us this week as well. So it was
awesome.
Great.
Y'all are killing it.
Utopian generation was
I
pretty
love
sweet
use
too.
history.
Cool. So I went ahead and put the retro link in the Zoom chat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen, and we can kind of go over the retro process for this. Just quick note. I know Jen said something about long ternaries, and like people always give me flack about it. So this was a pull request I had, which is going to get roasted on Monday. It's a multi-conditional ternary. So, I'll just put it in chat so everybody can see it if they want to see how not to code.
Hey, so sometimes if it works, and then you can fix it later. It's okay.
Hey, is this TypeScript?
It is TypeScript, yeah.
I keep putting off learning it. Anyways, I'll be silent now.
Okay, so I sent the link to the retro board. The way it's gonna work is we're gonna have about 5 minutes to write some cards for appreciation. If you want to give shout outs to people and they go, if something went well that you want to highlight, something went really cool, you can put it in this column. And if there's anything that can be improved, that like maybe like something on your part, like you could put that, like I have something that for me that I can improve on that I'm going to put in here. So just write a card for yourself. So for instance, I'm gonna have a Joey card for each column, and I'll write all my notes in here. And then, so I'm gonna give us 5 minutes to go ahead and start filling out cards. So in 5 minutes, we'll check back in, and then we'll kind of go over the tickets one by one, let people speak to them. And yeah.
Does anyone have any questions before we start though? Or is it all clear?
Do we play music while we do the retro? Or
yeah, go ahead. You can share some music if you want.
Oh, I love that.
I gotta find some.
All right, so let's plan to we'll meet back at we'll look at the board at 12:50.
Sounds good.
Is it too early for trap?
I always forget the time difference. I was like 12:50.
Never too early.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
I got you.
No, you're fine. I was just the 50 mark makes sense. I was just so thrown for a minute. That's how you know I need more coffee. Despite my time.
I'm just drinking coffee.
I drank the rest of mine. I want more, but I don't have a machine where I'm at, but I'll be quiet.
So much of our work and lives take place online, and high-profile data breaches are a near constant.
I was now saying that, like, that's some crazy music, bro.
You gotta give it a second. We're going free.
All right. Anybody need more time?
Yeah, this is.
I'm just finishing up. If I could have another minute or two, if not, I'll just write something really quick.
Yeah, I only needed one. Okay, so I typed that.
All right, are we all good to go?
Yeah, I did something for everything.
Okay, can we stop the music?
Sweet, I am ready.
Perfect. Okay, let me
Boom.
share my screen. We can get started. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the board, and then I'm going to go to each ticket and let the person talk about it. So let's start with the appreciations. Steph, do you want to go over your ticket?
Yeah, I call myself two different things, but it's okay.
Nah.
So as I had less time. Yeah, so first one, I'm gonna freestyle what I wrote. So, yeah, working with Brandon was crazy. It was amazing. Uh, the energy's good, and also being able to like take ideas. So, for example, like his styling ideas and start to do those. And the different ideas that we had that came up during the time. So did also pass the acceptance criteria, but it was like, okay, we know we're gonna do that, but like what else can we do in this time frame? And doing doing what we can with that time frame and not just saying like this is the acceptance criteria and this is all that they asked us to do, but like you know, let's try also this. So there was a lot of time where it was like, okay, let's try this, and then that did not work out, which is what Brandon was referring to earlier. But that I have to break down into smaller chunks, which is what I put on could be improved. The next part was a shout out to Volha and Kathy, who I realized that I didn't really have it. It's all at the top, left side on appreciations, and I realized that there was no. I mean, we had like a. Well, I had an introduction with. I didn't have an introduction with them, at the time because I just came in, so I didn't really get to know them. But I did see that the code. I was like, oh, this code is really good. So it was great to see. Let me read it. I guess I'm freestyling. I was freestyling, like again on my Lil Wayne thing. And so it's really good to have a good foundation from them that wasn't like, oh, like we can't build from there because now like it was like no, like we have this base. Even like Brandon's changed to just put the form into it, which is a very like I don't know, at least from what I've seen, like a very standard thing is to take the form, put it in a separate component so it's reusable. Like things like that is like, you know, common. But there was a form there to, but you know, like there was something there to refactor, right? So it's like these things were already working, and there was no problems there before we could continue to move on, and so that was really good. Um, yeah, and so that's why my what went well was kind of short because my appreciation was a lot longer. But yeah, onboarding to the team and collaboration because I did start Tuesday, Wednesday. You know, like so whatever. But the same day that I started is the like the next day that I pair programmed. You know, so it was all a really fast process.
Cool.
And then for to be improved uh, is I'm trying to get my ideas out faster, which is going to take some ramping up on the architecture and really understanding it. And I kind of talked to Brandon and Jen about this, which is just kind of comes from my previous experience. So like just kind of scaling things into smaller chunks as opposed to like trying to implement this big thing. And so getting those ideas out faster and figuring out how to chunk things, which might be which is something I wanted to talk to the mentors about. I didn't know what the flow of that was. But I got questions about that. So
Okay, yeah, we can definitely talk about that
that'd be
offline. Cool. Yeah, I know you hit the ground running. You came in, you know, second week. You're doing a phenomenal job. So, super stoked. Kathy, you want to go over your ticket?
Sure. Some of it does kind of echo, I think, similarly to what Steph. Is that okay, Steph? Or do you prefer? I mean, you.
Yeah, it's less syllables.
I got you on that. I'm good with
Yeah.
that. I just don't like to say privilege. You know, if you
Well, I
offer
didn't.
it, then
The
that's
thing is
different.
that I don't really own it. My mom owns it. You know, it's like the phonetic F and everything. So it's like, okay, it's hers.
I
But it's like
understand that
everybody
too.
doesn't have time to be saying all these words. So that's why I
I
shorten it.
understand. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will just quickly start off with some of what I have to say will echo what Steph had said, but like with my appreciations, I didn't have a lot of time because I'm wordy. So I just I only have one in each column. My first one is kind of the appreciation. I really appreciated having very open and understanding partners. Both Volha and Brandon made it very easy for me to kind of come in with all of my imposter syndromes and fears and pair program with them. So I really appreciate that. And they made it easy, you know, to work with them. And I applaud and appreciate that as well. Something that went well, I would just say, you know, I think that pair programming with, and this is, you know, to preface what I have to say, this is, you know, it's not a gig on anything. It's just like, I feel like when Brandon and I pair program, things went especially well. That week, I think it was our schedules kind of coordinated and we were allowed to really, you know, work as a team on every like deliverable, for lack of a better term, throughout the week. And especially being the first week and the first time, I just thought that was like out of this park. Like that was super cool. And was pleasantly surprised, I will say, about it. Things that I think could be improved, I would echo, this is what I was talking about with Steph. I'm still a little confused on some like parts of the weekly cadence. For example, you know, when I, in the actual GitHub pull request, select reviewers, am I, for a mentor review, selecting all of the mentors? Should I be rotating it? I don't want to be doing anything I shouldn't be doing or overtaxing anybody. Like I think last week I pinged everybody and Joey picked it up. And then I think naturally this week I just selected him. But then I was just like, well, maybe it's, you know, I'm not, anyway. So that's that. Or like, for example, who is responsible for making the poll, the actual PR merge? Is that something the mentors do, or is that something the person who submits it, or just any team member does? I just want to make sure I'm not stepping on any toes, or taking privileges that I shouldn't be taking, in short. That's about it.
Yeah, cool. So just to touch on that real quick, what I would do is when I create a pull request, there's an option. I think you had it right. You know, there's an option to assign people. So what I would do is I would assign the other pair and then ping the Slack channel to say, hey, I have this pull request ready. And then once they review it, that's all they need to do. If it's good, you know, they submit, they approve it. And then once that gets approved, then you can assign the mentors, and then you can ping the channel again and say, hey, this is ready for mentor review. And then once we review it and once we approve it, then you are able to now merge your code.
Okay, great. If I can ask a couple of quick clarifying questions, like for the
Yeah.
peer review, obviously in my mind, I've been thinking tag both team members, but do both team members, and I don't want to say should, but just so to meet it, so I know what the expectation is. And that's really where I guess I'm confused on too, is should both of us be reviewing the code and submitting comments back, or just one for the team? And then for the
Both.
reviewers, do I select all of the reviewers every time and then ping all of you and you guys just decide who's going to pick it up and run with it? Not to be like too much, but just curious.
No, you're good. It would be ideal if both people could review it, just so we can get more eyes on it and more, you know, practice, you know, doing code review and the whole collaboration process. So it is helpful to tag all of the other pairs in this case.
And that works for the mentors as well. Just tag everybody.
Yeah,
Okay, check. Thank you.
no problem.
I didn't want to over tag, if that
Oh,
makes
no.
sense.
No,
Because then
you're,
everybody
It's
gets an
fine.
email every time something happens, and then people get mad at you secretly. But don't always voice it. Thank you,
you're
Joey.
totally fine, no problem. Brandon, you want to go over your ticket?
Just don't do what I did and merge your pull request.
It's all good.
By the way, so I was like, looks good. Done.
Click. Sometimes
the
you need to co-sign
enthusiasm.
your own damn tickets, you know?
Oh,
Well,
I
you
didn't
know, for
merge
me, it's
ours. I
weird.
merged theirs. I was like, all right, cool. What's the
Well,
problem?
see, and I've seen that in some people, some processes. Like, you know, there's another group I work with where someone else has to merge your pull request. Like, they don't want you doing it yourself. So I didn't know last week, and I was just like, I think Joey told me to do it. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. But then, you know, I liked your enthusiasm, Stephanie. You were like, it's good.
Oh no, don't do. I said don't do, because Joey was like, "What the heck? What is this?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I thought you said like review. Yeah, it looked good. It looks great."
Everybody's allowed one of those moments, especially your first time coming in and hitting the ground running. I think, you know, it's definitely valid.
Yeah, it's only week 2, everybody. So
It's all good.
yeah.
Hi,
We
Brandon.
out here. Oh, sure. So from an appreciation, like, as I'm sure we all realize by now, my schedule in terms of this week, I did everything late, you know, like when Steph asked me maybe, what was this, like day before, if I was around to like work on the PR, for instance, I didn't see until like an hour later because I was stuck on like something else I was doing, right? And I just appreciate that everybody has been really, really understanding of that, especially because, again, this is second week. I'm not normally like this, I promise. So I just really appreciate that I didn't feel like I was being rushed, but, you know, I really appreciated that. Also, working with Stephanie was really fantastic for me because I liked learning from somebody who understands like structure a lot, and it made learning like a lot like very enjoyable for me because like I was constantly picking up new topics, new concepts, stuff like that. But it also didn't feel like, no, what you're doing is wrong, you know, do this. It was more like a, hey, you know, this works better this way, blah blah blah. It was really good working with you, Steph. I really appreciated that. It was really fun.
Let's see if Kathy feels the same way next week. You know.
Oh, hell yeah. For sure, for
I'm
sure.
looking forward to it.
So what went well for me was that, related to my schedule being so wonky, Volha and Kathy's their pull request, it was so extensible. Remember I mentioned how like I basically piggybacked off of their functionality already because they had the add item to Firebase and stuff like that. So I literally just built off of their functionality. The most code that was written was when we decided to make the form itself, you know, like with the own components, add radio buttons. That was the majority of the code. The functionality was already there and extremely extensible, and I love that. And I think that like that's kind of like the whole vibe of this whole collab lab. Like it's great. I was like, afterwards I went and checked out all of the code, like the code that I didn't like touch. I checked out the token generation code, for instance, that had like the dictionary and was randomly pulling out and stuff like that. It's sweet, but it also looks easy to use throughout the code base, and I love that. I just thought that like was really, it's important of good things, I guess. It's like that to me just made programming this week a breeze, and I love that. In terms of what could be improved is that I definitely should open up my communication a little bit earlier next time. So if I'm starting to get swamped, if the week is starting to look really busy for me, that I let people know beforehand that, hey, this is actually being thrown out of loop. Because I was trying really hard to fit everything into the schedule until I couldn't. You know, some stuff just wasn't feasible. But I think if I communicated like my whole schedule stuff a little bit earlier and better, we would have been able to work a little bit more coherently. Other than that, and one more thing related to communication, because this was something that Kathy dropped inside of that fantastic demo, was that the on-click on the form itself allowed for better accessibility. On my pull request, I switched it to on submit just because I was messing around with the custom button. But that just goes to show, again, I should have like actually checked out and asked Kathy and company how come this was on click, because it stuck out in my brain when I saw it. I was like, you know, on click on the form, that's interesting. I've never really seen that. And I should have asked before I modified whatever like that. So just in terms of communication, I think I need to communicate with the other pair better. With my current partner, it's fine. And like we're always talking about like that. But with the other pair, I need to remember that they are also part of the same team. So I could just hit them up before I start changing some stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Yeah. I think communication is something that, you know, I put for my what can be improved. So I think we're all on the same boat, and it's only week 2, so nothing to worry with that. Jen, do you want to go over your tickets?
Yes. So my appreciations. Well, first of all, shout out to Brandon and Stephanie. We had a really long chit chat session when I was going to maybe step in and pair with Brandon when he didn't have a pair. And then literally the same day Stephanie got onboarded, she joined our Zoom call. So that was awesome. And we learned a lot about each other. And it was honestly one of the highlights of my month, but probably one of like a friend highlight from like this whole time I've been stuck at home. It was so nice to connect to 2 new people and just really have a really great lengthy conversation about whatever literally came to our brain. And so I really, really enjoyed that. So maybe we should schedule another one of those.
I mean, you know, code and coffee. Code
and coffee. And I want to do another shout out to Kathy. I know you're really nervous, and you talk about imposter syndrome, and we all kind of have it to some degree, but you demo really, really well. And I noticed like you apologize a lot and stuff during your demos. You don't have to do that because honestly, all the comments and all the documentation that you produce really lends itself well to you presenting well. And so you're actually doing really awesome. You communicate really clearly. And so I just want to tell you that so you can tell yourself that you are awesome. So please tell yourself you're awesome because I really, really, really appreciated your demo today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was fire, man. We
Yeah.
just came in here like, oh yeah, we're gonna show you some of the code. Yeah, that was like you got
Mhm.
notes. And I thought it was gonna be a PowerPoint presentation, and it was like, oh no, I didn't practice this. It was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Super prepared, came
But
with
it's clean
notes.
practice. That's what I'm saying. Like it was, yeah,
Yeah.
that was so good. So we
Yeah, it was really great.
have,
And then what went well, I think overall, dude, everyone's code is fire. Like usually in past cohorts that I've been in, there was like a really big range of comfort with programming in general. Like there were a lot of people who are very, very new to programming. But it's clear here that everyone has pretty like good grasp of programming and to some degree React. And so that all the code is just really clean and there's really not too many like technical comments to make on the code. And that's what's really impressive to me. And usually every week with groups, they're like trying to emphasize, hey, stick with the AC, don't too much. But I can see that you all are very comfortable with the code. And it makes me excited because you are doing a little bit more than like what the AC is asking. And I'm excited to see how this project is going to evolve into the final product. So a good job, everybody. And what could be improved? It's kind of along the same lines as communication. So life happened. I'm like working 2 jobs. My kid is sick. Like but I feel like I kind of neglected Collab Lab a little bit, and so I really would like more of a pulse on what everyone's doing. And so it always warms my heart when I see messages in Slack and especially in our like TCL group. So like I'm going to try to be more vocal in Slack and like encourage everyone else to please do the same because I always get happy when I see messages from you all. So yep.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we have like the same. I think we have the same exact what can be improved card. So I'll start with my appreciations. I want to start with Kathy's code reviews and her pull request comments. They are so helpful and everything is like explained so clearly. And I would like love to like work with someone like that on a day-to-day basis. So like I said, you're doing a phenomenal job with that. Brandon, your demos are always awesome. Your product demo, your code demo, they all intertwine so well, and also your willingness to tackle new things and to jump in and your willingness to pair as well is so great to see. Stephanie, for not missing a beat and jumping straight in on week 2. That was like a really, really smooth transition, I feel like, in terms of like getting you onboarded with everything. So really impressed with that. That was awesome to see. And Volha for her, her great communication and everything. I feel like anytime there was an issue that she needed help with, she would always, ping me really quick and we'd hop on a call. Her willingness to discuss her schedule and her availability, I think, is super great and super, super good to see here. Going well. I want to just, again, harp on the demos. They've been so great these past 2 weeks. I love what I'm seeing in terms of the product demo itself and the code demo. Everything is really, really good. And then for the what can be improved from my part, life got busy this week. We adopted a dog about a month ago, and so we're still getting used to like me and my fiance had to like adjust our schedules a bit to like make it work around her schedule, and yeah, it's a lot of work, but we're getting through it. So I kind of put some things on the back burner, and then I could definitely do a better job of being noisier in the Slack channel, like maybe checking in with everybody like at the start of the week, at the middle of the week, because like Jen said, it is nice to see messages in Slack throughout the week to that little like boost to keep you going. So yeah, that was our retro. We're gonna do these every other week.
Yay.
I feel like they're super great and I love doing them, so thank you everybody. To wrap up, Jen, you want to hop over real quick and go over the issues for this week coming up?
Yep. Let me scooch over my board and let's go over the 2 issues.
Jen?
Yes, what's up?
Sorry, I know we're probably short on time. Before we look forward, could I just make a quick comment on the issues for this week?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry. Voha and I, again, the miscommunication, I mentioned it briefly earlier. We had talked where I was going to do the PR and she was going to do the peer review, and she did it, but she sent it to me and I thought she was going to put it in GitHub so everybody could see. So I have it, and I know she's out of town today and tomorrow, so I will push it over so everybody can see and add the official comments and do the peer review. And I'm sorry about the delay and the issues for that. And then really quickly on my issue, while I was doing my demo, I realized that I actually didn't do all of the ACs. And in fact, I need to add the, use history hook to the add item component so that after the add item is added, it will then push them to the list page. So I can make those changes and fix it this week so that we're all set when everybody clicks over to the new issues, if that's okay with you.
Sounds good. Yeah. And so just so y'all know, if you don't finish your issues during that 1 week, like it happens often where things get pushed, like bleed into the next week, just make sure you like sync up with your previous pair and like make sure it gets merged sometime before the next, the next sync up. And then we'll be all good. And just ping the mentors in the other group if you need another review on a new PR.
So really quickly, should we do a new PR or just update the existing one in that situation?
I think the existing one was already merged, right? So I think you'll have to open a new PR.
That means it's closed. Okay, good to know. I didn't know what happens to the PR once it's merged.
It closes. So just open a new one. There's nothing wrong with that. So
thank you, Jen. Sorry, please continue.
Mm-hmm. No, you're good. Okay, let me share my screen now. Share screen. Okay, cool. So we have 2 new issues this week. And so the first issue here is, as a user, I want to join an existing shopping list so I can share a shopping list with another person. So basically, we already did, that was the tokens that was generated this last week for that other issue. So now we want to be able to share that token and have a place so that someone can put in that token and join and basically sync their desktop to that list that's already in Firebase. So the ACs are when the user does not already have a token in local storage. On the onboarding home screen, a simple form is displayed that allows the user to enter a token. And then entering the token and hitting submit saves the token to local storage, effectively giving them joint control of the list. On submit, show an error if the token doesn't exist in Firebase. And if they get an error message, allow them to try again or create a new list. So does anyone have any questions for this issue?
Yeah, what? All right, okay.
Well, what's confusing to you?
Okay, so high level, right?
Mm-hmm.
The functionality that's trying to be implemented is like a caching thing, so that when you come
right
back,
now,
it's still you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so right now, I think the way that Kathy and Bolha have it is when you want to add an item, if you don't already have a token in local storage, it automatically creates a new token, and then you can start adding items to the list. So what this issue does is it says that you should have an input on the home screen if there's no token in local storage to be able to either create a new list like Kathy and Volha have already done, or you should be able to take a code that someone has shared with you and put it in an input. And if they click join list, and then they should be able to see all the list items that are already in Firebase for that list. Does that make sense?
Oh, so like each time you come, it should not be brand new. It's not brand.
Yeah, so the lists should persist on your system. And so if you look at the demo video, you can see like on the main page on a computer that has never used the shopping list before, you can either create a new list or join an existing list. And this is joining an existing list.
Okay, so that's what I was missing. Is that I didn't is the exit okay.
Yep. Cool.
Oh, that literally is what it says. It's as a user, I want to join an existing. 'cause I was like, what, the token already there? Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Got it.
So that's that issue. And then let's go over the next issue. Oh, do I have the wrong issue? I have the wrong issue open, I think.
It should be 5 and 6.
This
Yeah.
and 6, yes. Okay, so the next issue is, as a user, I want to be alerted when I'm entering an item that is the same as something already on my list, so I can avoid duplicate items. So just like earlier when we put in cat litter or when we put in 2 eggs, it should show an error if the user tries to submit a new item that has the exact same name as an existing item. Show an error message if the user tries to submit a new item that has the same name as an existing item where capitalization has been normalized and punctuation has been removed. And so this is the part where I think people get confused. So eggs with a capital E or eggs with a lowercase e or eggs with like e.ggs should all be the same. And you should look at all of those different possibilities to consider it as duplicates.
Ooh.
And then the user's original input should be what gets saved to the database. But yeah, so is everyone clear on this issue and what
This
it's
is like
asking?
a dot lower in comparison, right?
Yeah, pretty
Yes.
much. Maybe a
Oh,
little
pretty much.
regex for the punctuation. That's cool.
Okay. I just
Any
trying
other-
to make sure it wasn't more complex than that. 'Cause-
No, so a lot of these issues are really just broken down into smaller pieces, and I think that's something that you all will notice since it seems like you all are more comfortable with like programming and things like that. The issues, like the difficulty, is not what we're looking out for. What we're looking out for is the handing off of the information to each team, to each pair, and like everyone working together. And so that's why these issues may seem a little bit easier to y'all, because we're more concerned about making sure that you all can work together and make a cohesive project together. Does that make sense?
I didn't say it was easy.
No, but I do like
I
how
thought that's
the
what you said.
issues-
I was
I
just
think the issues are broken down into like digestible chunks.
Yeah,
that's
because
what I
you have to remember, we're only expecting about 5 hours of work from y'all, and so we don't want this to take up too much of your weekly time, but we want you guys to build something that is you'll be proud of in the end. And so, on that note, does anyone have any preferences for the different issues? Who wants to
Number
work on
6.
what? You want number 6, Kathy?
Is that allowed?
All right, well,
I think that came out. when I was
she
thinking it.
spoke first, so
Is this fair?
any
Like,
objections? Any objections?
She dragged me with the, yeah. Because
I
we're
should
sharing,
have
right?
consulted with my partner, like on the sideline. Like, Steph, what do you
You know,
want?
I'm saying you
What
can
number
make
should we go
private
with?
messages in Zoom. But
That's right. I just thought about it. I'm sorry.
I'm like,
My bad, partner.
come on, partner. No, six is cool. I think we could do some cool like UI things. So I think it'd be cool.
Unless Brandon or Steph prefers differently, I'm flexible. I'll say that.
No, like look. If you call shotgun, that's like you got it.
Go for it, dude. Go
You know what
for
I mean?
it.
Like,
All
no,
right, I'm
like,
assigning.
Yeah,
I'm assigning.
Like that's
Thank
the
you
thing when you call
all.
shotgun, you call
Sorry.
shotgun.
And then so this one, oops, I don't want to assign myself. That was a mistake. Mistakes were made.
No, once you do it, you can't take it back.
No backsies. Wait.
Right? No backseas. Welcome to the team.
All right, cool.
Oh, wait, hold. Sorry,
yes?
is number 6 Kathy's on? I'm getting confused there.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
You assigned
Did I do it the wrong? Oh my.
That's
I know what
actually,
happened.
a deep Freudian slip. You know,
right?
I wasn't even paying attention to what the numbers were at the top of the page.
And Jen, too, one trick that I noticed in the URL, if you want to switch easily between issues, if you know the number, you can just go to the URL and just like backspace and type it in versus going back to the issues list.
Why
Just
is this correct now? This is not correct. What's going on here?
Take Bullha off. Dared
Okay.
Tech. Yeah, she comes off.
This is like glitching. Hold on. Here we go.
No, no one's there.
Okay, and then number 6 is not them. I'll clear assignees.
That's
Clear
5,
assignees.
I'm gonna be quiet.
Refresh.
Clear assignee. Oh my goodness. Okay.
It did it. It did it. No, it
There we go.
we're just all gonna be a team and all be on this.
And this is
what-
gonna be Kathy and Step. Step. Okay, we got it good.
I know.
Perfect.
I'm on the like. What is it called? Because it's not even snake case. What I'm doing with my GitHub name, but Cassie has the full camel
Or
case
straight up.
thing going.
Yeah, but you have straight up just regular hyphenation.
Yeah, I got the like. This is gonna work no matter what thing.
I just have
I
a
am
pun
all
for a
about
name.
capital camel case. When I was in boot camp, one of my like really good friends used to like / tutor was always like, there are no capital letters in programming. And then I found capital camel case and some of the other things you do for constants, all capitals. I was like, yes, capital letters.
Let me say what I don't like about camel
Snake
case
case
is
is
that
called.
is that sometimes there's like the first letter will be lowercase and then everything else will be capital. And it's like, hold on, camels don't look like that. And that's why I was like, I don't get why it's called camel case. Because I need humps. But, I don't digress.
And that is a good point to end the recording. So I'm going to stop recording right now.
Loud laugh in the recording.
It was a great meeting. Let me stop recording.